Back here for more XLB action as we wind down week number 7 here with the Danville Dairy Daddies taking on the Oaxaca Warriors. Danville coming into this one 4-1, Oaxaca 4-2. But these are two teams that are playing at a very high level right now. Lots of momentum between these two teams. In fact, let's take a look at the matchup for these two teams this week, as it is two hot teams trying to continue their run. If the playoffs started today, these two teams would be ranked 2nd and 3rd, respectively. So Oaxaca would get the bye in the West, and Danville would basically be the top-seeded team left after the byes. So two teams playing well, and Danville has kind of been on the back of one man, as it has been one of the legends for them, Larry Walker, that has been doing yeoman's work for them. And then their other legend, Pedro Martinez, on the bump today. Pedro, in his first outing this season, went 9 innings and gave up no runs on 9 hits. So we'll see if he can back that up. For the Oaxaca Warriors, it's going to be Craig Biggio and Fernando Valenzuela as they try and really separate themselves out in the West, as it's kind of a mess in both divisions right now, but in different ways, as the West keeps finding ways to lose games and the East keeps finding ways to win games. So you gotta have to get some wins if you want to keep up and kind of separate yourself in the West. Both these teams put together by our friend Jazz, and since I control teams in the West and Jason controls teams in the East, in the interest of fairness, I'm going to control the Dairy Daddies in the East, and Jason, who is here around the scoreboard, is going to control the Warriors in the West, so we don't make any kind of decisions, not that we ever would, that would influence the division per se. So I'm going to control the Dairy Daddies here today with Pedro on the mound and Jose Altuve leading up. We got the Sacrificial Temple back here behind us in Oaxaca, Mexico, where it'll be Joe Ryan on the mound from the Twins for them, and he will take on Jose Altuve to get this one started. And Ryan will get Altuve to pop up to 3rd. We are officially underway here with Larry Walker at the plate. And Ryan will get Walker to ground out to short. 2 down for Bryce Harper. And Ryan will strike Harper out. 3 up, 3 down for the Dairy Daddies here in 1. Bottom of the 1st we go. And it'll be Craig Biggio leading off, batting .231 this season. He'll take on Pedro Martinez. And Pedro will strike him out. And you might see that a few times today. Pedro looked really good in his first outing. Cody Bellinger at the plate, batting .300 on the year. Pedro will balk, so that'll be a walk to Bellinger. A new house rule we put in place. So Bellinger gets on, and Caminero is up with 1 on, 1 down. Pedro will get Caminero to ground out to 1st. And that'll be a double play. So Pedro puts the man on with the walk, and then immediately gets the double play. And we'll head to the top of 2. Scoreless, Manny Machado set to lead off. For the Dairy Daddies, he's batting .227 on the year. PBZ, 72. 26 on the defense chart. 3rd baseman muffs grounder. If CD4 at 3rd, batter is out. CD2, so that's an error on Caminero. And Machado will get on. And that is a league-leading 6th error for the Warriors this season. So they have almost got an error at every single game. I bring up Julio Rodriguez, 1 on, nobody down. And Ryan will strike him out. 1 down for Mookie Betts. And Mookie will slap a single into center. First hit of the day for the Dairy Daddies, as Mookie was batting .286 on the year. Bring up Marcus Simeon. 2 on, 1 down. Simeon is out of there. They'll ground out to third, and that'll do it. Double play. So both teams the benefactor of a double play to get them out of a jam. And now bottom of the second, where Pedro comes back out to take on Spencer Torkelson. Torkelson batting .227 on the year. And Torkelson is out of there as they'll ground out to second. And the guy in the stands yelling, "Run it out," to Torkelson. Did not like his hustle, Jason. Yeah, he said it in Spanish. Juan Soto. Pedro will get Soto to ground out to second. Back-to-back grounders to second. Bring up Christian Yelich with 2 down. And Pedro will get Yelich to pop up to short. Everything kept on the infield here. As we're through 2, top of 3 we go. Let's take a look at the Week 7 XLB schedule. Of course, if you're watching this game, there are 5 other Week 7 games to catch up on. As the Bees and the Devils had this week off. Pretty good slate of games this week. Certainly some ones we're checking out. We've had everything this week from crazy comeback wins to extra inning games. So make sure and check out the Week 7 schedule here. Elliot Ramos will take on Joe Ryan to start the third. And Ramos will slap a single into left to get this one started. Second hit of the day for the Dairy Daddies. Alejandro Kirk at the plate, 1 on, nobody down. Ryan will strike out Kirk. Second strikeout of the day for Joe Ryan. 1 on, 1 down for Altuve. And Ryan will give up a single into center to Altuve. And that'll bring up Larry Walker. 2 on, 1 down for Larry Walker against Joe Ryan. And Ryan will get Walker to GX6. Batter safe, runner on first, out at second. So runners on the corners for Bryce Harper here in the third. And Ryan will give up a single into left to Harper. And that will drive in Altuve. And Harper will drive in his 10th RBI on the season. Yeah. I'm going to bring up Manny Machado. Yeah, batting behind Larry Walker apparently pays dividends. And Manny Machado will strike out. Third strikeout for Ryan. 1 run on the board in the top of 3, though, as we head to the bottom of the third, where Dansby Swanson will lead off against Pedro Martinez. Pedro will give up a single into right to Swanson. First hit of the day for the Warriors. Going to bring Ramon Laureano to the plate. 1 on, nobody down. PBBD for Laureano. And he'll strike out. Pedro, second strikeout of the game. Agustin Ramirez, 1 on, 1 down. Pedro will give up an infield single to Agustin Ramirez. So now 2 on, 1 down for Craig Biggio. And Pedro will strike out Biggio. So now 2 on, 2 down for Cody Bellinger. Third strikeout for Pedro. And Bellinger is out of there as he'll ground out to third to end the third. Through 3, top of 4, 1-0 lead for the Dairy Daddies. Julio Rodriguez at the plate against Joe Ryan. And Julio will strike out. Me and Julio down in the 4th strikeout for Joe Ryan. We'll bring up Mookie Betts. Nobody on. 1 down. Ryan will give up a single into left to Betts. And, you know, we've talked about off stream a few times how bad of a card Betts has for as good of a player as he is. And yet he is seemingly getting on base whenever he wants at times.
Just thinking that.
1 on, 1 down for Marcus Semien against Joe Ryan. And Ryan will strike out Semien. 5th strikeout for Ryan will bring up Elliot Ramos. And Elliot will strike out. A good number on a PBBD. Ends in disaster, a strikeout.
Gotta blame whoever set up that lineup.
We won't. Junior Caminero set to lead off the bottom of the 4th against Pedro. And Junior is out of there as he'll ground back to the pitcher. 1 down for Torkelson. PBCD for Torkelson. And he'll strike out.
Oh.
4th strikeout for Pedro. 1 number away from a homer. Wild stuff. Juan Soto. He'll be out of there as he pops up to 3rd. 3 up, 3 down for the Warriors. As we head to the top of the 5th, where the 9-hole hitter Alejandro Kirk will lead off against Joe Ryan. And Ryan will strike out Kirk. Joe Ryan, I don't know if he's a strikeout pitcher. He goes to 46. Certainly possible, just like Pedro. 1 down.
Seems to be.
Yeah, Altuve. PBBD for Altuve, and he will strike out. 8th strikeout for Joe Ryan. Bring up Larry Walker. And Ryan will get Walker to pop up to 3rd. Bottom of 5 we go. A 1-0 lead for Pedro and the Dairy Daddies. And Christian Yelich will lead off for the Warriors. And Yelich is out of there. This will fly out to deep right. A home run saving catch by Larry Walker.
Of course.
1 down for Dansby Swanson. Pedro will get Swanson to ground back to him. 2 down for Ramon Laureano. And Pedro will strike out Ramon Laureano. 3 up, 3 down for the Warriors here in the 5th. Top of the 6th we'll go, and we'll take a look at some players who are playing well right now in the last 3 games. And that does include Larry Walker, who was also at the forefront of the MVP race because of his last 3 games. In his last 3 games, Larry Walker batting .785 and has scored 6 runs. Has 4 stolen bases to that as well for the season. So Larry Walker, big part of why the Dairy Daddies have been playing so well. 0 for 3 today, though. And Bryce Harper will lead off the top of the 6th against Joe Ryan. And Ryan will get Harper to ground out to 2nd. 1 down for Manny Machado. And Ryan will throw a pass ball. They'll come back to Ryan, and he'll get Machado to fly out to right. 2 down for Julio Rodriguez. And Ryan will walk Rodriguez. That balk situation really coming into play after we instituted it. Rodriguez will take off for 2nd. Runner out if TA or TB. And he is a TA. Real close to wild stuff happening, but instead thrown out for the 3rd out. Bottom of 6 we go. Agustin Ramirez set to lead off against Pedro Martinez. And Pedro will get Agustin to ground out to 2nd. I bring up Biggio, 1 down here in the 6th. Pedro will get Biggio to ground out to short. 2 down for Cody Bellinger. And Bellinger will slap a double into left. 3rd hit of the day for the Warriors, and now a runner in scoring position for Junior Caminero. And Junior is out of there as he'll ground out to third to end the inning. Pedro,
Get on your card, Pedro. You have
to take advantage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to take advantage for sure, especially if you get like a PBBD and stuff. I've seen a couple of those go awry for him. Mookie Betts set to lead off the top of 7 against Joe Ryan. Both these pitchers have been good today. Just a matter of who's going to make a mistake. Mookie against Ryan. PBCD for Betts, and he will strike out. 9th strikeout for Joe Ryan. Marcus Semien at the plate. And Ryan will get Semien to pop up to third. That'll bring up Elliot Ramos. And Ramos will strike out looking. 10th strikeout for Ryan as we head to the bottom of 7, where Torkelson will lead off against Pedro. And Pedro will strike him out to get it started. For Juan Soto. PBCD for Soto, and he'll hit a double. So there's taking advantage of it like we talked about. 4th hit of the game for the Warriors. Soto on second. Let's see what Yelich can do here. Pedro will strike out Yelich. 7th strikeout for Pedro brings up Dansby Swanson. And Pedro will get Swanson to ground out to third to end the inning. They got a runner on, just could not plate him. 1-0, top of the 8th. Joe Ryan against Alejandro Kirk. And Ryan will give up the single into left to Kirk. 6th hit of the day. There's that guy in the background again yelling to run it out to Alejandro Kirk. He likes yelling at the catchers. 1 on, nobody down for Altuve. And Altuve, he'll slap a single into center. And Ryan, who has been so good, gives up back-to-back hits now and has Larry Walker at the plate with 2 on.
Where to put him? Yep, we got to pitch to him.
And Ryan will strike out Larry Walker, who has looked human today. 11th strikeout for Ryan brings up Bryce Harper. And Ryan will strike out Harper. So putting the 2 leadoff men on, and now back-to-back strikeouts for Ryan. He's got Machado at the plate. And Ryan will strike out Machado. So 3 straight strikeouts after putting the first 2 on. 13 strikeouts on the day for Joe Ryan as we head to the bottom of the 8th, where Pedro will come back out to take on Ramon Laureano. And Ramon will slap a double into left to get this bottom of the 8th started. That'll bring up Agustin Ramirez. 1 on, nobody down. PBCD for Agustin. And he'll take that one high and deep, and Agustin Ramirez puts the Warriors in front. Agustin Ramirez, the bottom of the 8th. A 2-run shot off of Pedro. First runs of the year scored on Pedro. A war cry crush for Agustin puts him in front. And that'll do it for Pedro as Phil Matone will come in. But it might be too little too late. Biggio against Matone. And Biggio, he's out of there as he'll fly out to left. 1 down for Bellinger. And Bellinger, he's out of there as he'll fly out to center. So a couple good hits on Matone. And Junior Caminero up with 2 down. And Caminero, he's out of there. And he'll pop up to short. Not as impressive. But 3 flyouts from Matone get him out of the 8th. But a 2-run home run makes it a 1-run game. Warriors out in front of the Dairy Daddies 2-1 now in the 9th.
Now, Trevor McGill.
Trevor Megill will make his way into the game. And he'll take on Julio Rodriguez in the top of the ninth as the Dairy Daddies try and get themselves back into this. And Megill will strike out Rodriguez to start the inning. One down. Mookie Betts at the plate. Megill will strike out Betts. Two down for Simeon. Megill will get Simeon to ground out to the catcher, and that's how this one comes to an end. Megill gets the save as Joe Ryan was great to get the win. One mistake made by Pedro Martinez through 7 innings, and that's enough to hang the loss. 2-1 going to be the final score of this one. Agustin Ramirez going to be your MVP of this game as he hits the 2-run shot in the bottom of the 8th to give him the lead and give him the win in this highly closely contested game.
What a game.
Indeed so. What a week. A lot of good games this week. If you haven't seen them, go back and watch them. That'll move Danville to, well, there's one that will take a little longer, yeah. Danville moves to 4-2, and Oaxaca really sets themselves apart now at 5-2 in the West. That'll do it for week 5. We'll take a break, compile all the stats, come back, get you set for week number 8. Thanks for watching. This has been a broadcast of the XLB Baseball Network.